On the road to your goals, you may encounter decisions that may feel risky. And for most people, when they're in risky situations or having to make risky decisions, they really don't know what to do, and that ends up leaving them stuck. And I submit to you that what you think is risk is actually just a challenge. And in this episode, I'm going to tell you why. So let's do it. Welcome to the Dream Lifestyle Podcast, where the focus and mission is to help you become the best version of yourself so you can live your dream lifestyle. Today's episode, we're talking about risk versus challenge. But before we get into this episode, let me know, how did you grow this week? How did you improve your productivity? How did you improve your mindset? How did you just take a step forward towards the life that you want to live? All right, let me know. I'm super excited about reading these. So today's episode, we're talking about risk versus challenge. And this is to me, a really important conversation, just because, when you think about the journey to success, there are so many decisions that have to be made. There's so many decisions. And in those decisions, you are either going to classify those decisions as being a risk, or you're going to classify those decisions as a challenge, right? And the overall decision to say, I want to do, I want to be, I want to have, whatever your goal is, that's already a challenge in itself. And I mean, depending on just your background, you may view it as a risk. But there's so many decisions that have to be made when you think about just success. And in those decisions, it's very important that we have a conversation about how you classify each of those decisions. And today we're talking about the classification between decisions being labeled as a risk and decisions being labeled as a challenge. And this is, again, a very important conversation because there's a lot of things into it. And I want to start off the conversation by just bringing up perspective into how we classify each of these types of decisions. Okay. And the reason why we're talking about perspective is because each of us has a different type of perspective. And each of us has a different type of perspective because each of us has a different history. We all have a different background. We all have different experiences. And as a result of that, we take that into our every single day lives. We have a certain perspective about life as a result of our past, right? So we have a certain perspective about money. We have a certain perspective about friends. We have a certain perspective about just our abilities. We have a certain perspective about just society as a whole, right? We have all these different perspectives just because of our history, because of our past traumas, our past triumphs, whatever. We have a certain perspective. And because we all have a different perspective, that means that we need to make sure that our perspective is in line with the best version of ourselves. And so because of that, you don't want to remain stuck in your perspective. And there are a lot of people that remain stuck in their perspective, and they don't have to. Okay, you don't have to remain stuck in your perspective, because when you remain stuck in your perspective, you're going to remain stuck in your purpose. You're going to remain stuck away from your purpose. You're going to be stuck in your life if you just want to basically stay the same. Like I refuse to really hang out with people that want to stay stuck in their perspective. But for the people that they're stuck in their perspective, but they want to get out, they know that their perspective needs to change, those are the people that I love having conversations with and really love helping, because that's the sign. Because all you need is the want. All you need is the desire to make the decision. You don't have to really figure out how you're going to do it, but you just need to make that internal decision. I want to change. I need to change my perspective, especially if there are areas in your life, if there's aspects of your life that you want to improve. And this can go from the biggest of areas, right? Or just to the smallest of areas. It can be a really big goal of, I want to completely shift careers and I want to do this and affect millions of people and build this and have that, create this. Or it could just be, a minor goal or a smaller goal, lesser than, still same in value, but, it could be a goal of, I want to lose X amount of pounds in a month. I want to, be able to get better at this skill within this year. I want to do at any level, it's very important that you are mindful of your perspective. And so with that, right, for the people that you might be listening to, okay, so how do I improve my perspective? You improve your perspective by, again, intentionality, one, but you improve your perspective by getting more information. And the way in which you are able to get more information, we are literally in the information age. You can literally find out information about anything literally from your phone. But in that, when you get more information on an area that you might have had a certain perspective about that was holding you stuck, well, then now with that new information, you can apply it differently. With new information, you're going to operate differently. And even in tandem with getting more information, you need to master some more skills. And when you master more skills, it's basically just a matter of what are you actually doing? Because in order for like knowing something isn't enough. Knowing something isn't enough, especially when you think about the decisions that you're going to have to make depending on the type of dream that you have. If you have a really big dream, that means you're going to have to be making really big decisions. And so you want to make sure that you have as much information as possible. And you also want to make sure that you have the skills necessary to make those types of decisions. And so the way in which you're able to basically get more information and master skills is by putting in the time, energy, and effort to get the information and master the skills. Now, there are a lot of places you can get the information from because there's no one size fits all to success. There's no one size fits all to your goals. There's no one size fits all to your dreams. However, all it takes on your part is to make the decision that you want more. Make the decision that you want better for your life in whatever area, so that way you can shift your perspective as a result of getting the information and mastering skills. I'll never forget when I first started Craft Your Dream and 10 Media, my media company and marketing agency, there were a lot of decisions I had to make. And man, they were big decisions. They were risky decisions as I saw it. But the more I got the information, the more skills I mastered in the space, the decisions that at one point seemed risky, now they were more of challenges just because it was just a matter of, was I going to do the work or not? And that's really the biggest thing, because we're talking overall about, are we going to classify our decisions as risky or are we going to classify them as challenges? It's really just a matter of, are you going to do the work or not? Okay. Because when it's risky, all of it's just unknown. It's like, I don't know, this could go left, this could go right, this could go up, this could go down. There's so many things that can happen when you think about decisions that you may classify as risky. But when you think about your perspective and how that plays into that, your perspective will basically tell your brain, okay, this is a risky decision or this is just a challenge. This is something that's worth it. Okay. And I'll talk a little bit more about why that's important, but that's the perspective side of it. You need to make sure that your perspective is in line with the best version of yourself, because that is going to ultimately give you the best results. Okay. So when you think about, just the decisions that you have to make right now, double check your perspective. Is your perspective in the right place? Do you have a closed off perspective? Or do you have the type of perspective that we can do something with? Because if you are open-minded, now the possibilities are limitless. Okay. But the one thing about perspective isn't all the way enough, because you can have a perspective about a thing, but you still have to interact with that thing. And that's where perception comes into play, because perspective is just how you view something. But perception is how you handle it, how you interact with it, how you touch that thing. And this can be, your perception of a person. This could be a perception of an idea, but it's just basically in the handling of it. Like one of the easy example of, this perspective versus perception, and, how it all ties together in terms of how you see a thing and how you interact with a thing. For some people, they have a perspective about wealth that, wealth is evil, that money itself is evil, and making money and millionaires and all that type of stuff, they're just bad people because they screwed other people out of their money and different things like that. Like, that's a perspective. And because of that perspective, it creates a perception that, if that person has that type of perspective, that person's perception is that all wealthy people are evil, and having influence and fame and celebrity and all that type of stuff, you must have done something really bad, right? But that's as a result of that perspective, and which again leads to the perception. And so as a result of that, there's no goals to really make money. There's no information. There's no skills to make money, just because money is evil and all these different types of things, right? And you just see where we go from there. So it's a whole snowball effect. But when you think about your perception is where you really lose out, because if I don't perceive opportunity, if I don't perceive a decision that could potentially change my life, now I could be missing out on everything that I want. Because the thing is, one conversation can change your life. One of anything can really change your life. But if your perception isn't in the right place, now you could be just messing yourself up without even knowing it. But that just comes from the root of your perspective is off. But again, when you shift your perspective with that gaining of information and mastering of skills, now your perception of making money, your perception of wealthy people, the rooms you'll go into, and just how you're experiencing your every single day life, your perception of your life changes just because you now have a completely different understanding. And again, perception, you perceive, you understand, you interact with things differently as a result of your perception changing when you get more information as well as more skills. Okay. Like I'll use myself as an example. When I was going through the decision-making process of, building out my media company, marketing agency, there are a lot of things that were risks to me, like even just reaching out to random people, asking, offering my services, like that was a risk to me because I was like, oh man, like I just don't know if they'll want it or if I'm needed or anything. Like I had so many fears to it. But once I started to, again, get more information about, okay, this is how a marketing agency works. This is how video production works. This is how a business runs. And this is what this has, this system, that system, right? When I got more information, my confidence grew. And as my confidence grew, those decisions to reach out to people offering my services, my perception of those conversations started to change. Then when I started really mastering the skills and really tried to hone in on my craft and master my craft of being a marketer and a producer, now again, my perception of those conversations went from, yeah, I think I can help you to, no, I can absolutely solve your problem. If you want to grow your business, I can do it. I can help you, right? Like as a result of me changing my perspective, I was able to shift my perception. Okay. I was able to shift my perception. And as a result, I started to make the decisions. I started putting myself in the position to make decisions. Now, again, that was a result of me making the decision that I just wanted better. Okay. It's because you have to be in position to actually make the decision before we even get to whether or not you decide a decision is a risk or it's a challenge. But even with that, right? So you have your perspective, right? Which comes from your past, it comes from your story, your experience. But then you also have your perception, which deals with just how you interact with your reality and things of that nature. And you need all of that to shift by gaining more information and mastering your skills. Here's the thing. Here's the big piece of it, because there are some of you that you may be like, well, I think my perspective and my perception of things are in the right place, but now I'm just at a place where I find myself seeing more risks with, trying to make more money, or I see more risks with trying to build my business or trying to get a promotion or whatever your goal is, right? There's a lot of risk to it. Let me tell you the key that's the difference between a risk and a challenge. Risk deals with outcome. Challenge deals with outcome. However, the difference is one of them is unknown. The other one is known. Risk, the outcome is unknown. Challenge, the outcome is known. What does that mean? Why is that important? When you are in the middle of a risk, like I said earlier, you don't know if it could go left, it could go right, it could go up, it could go down. Who knows what can happen, right? When you're dealing with a risk. So because of that, most people, when they encounter risk, they just push the decision off because this is risky. I don't know. This is probably not going to work because, again, our brains are trained. We are biologically designed. You have to reconfigure. Again, this is why gaining more information and mastering skills is so important. Your brain is automatically trained to just survive, not to thrive. So you have to train your brain to thrive. So if you don't gain that information, master those skills, you're not actually shifting your perspective that will actually put you in position to improve your life. Hey, you're listening to this episode because you are looking to take action for your dream. You're trying to find your how to your biggest goals. What I'm encouraging you to do right now is go to dreamsociety.info. That is where you can register to be a part of the Dream Society, which is Craft Your Dreams accountability group that meets Monday mornings to set targets, take action, and win. So if that's you, if you're somebody that takes your personal development, you take your growth seriously, this is something you need to be a part of. Go to dreamsociety.info right now. Let's get back to the episode. But even in that, You're less likely to take risks because your brain is just going to be saying to you, wait, no, don't do that. That's going to hurt. That's going to be painful. It's not going to work. You don't want to do that, right? That's a risk. And when you find yourself classifying more decisions that you have to make as risks, you're going to probably end up taking less action just because you don't know how it's going to go, which is understandable, right? Like if you just don't know how something's going to go and you're having to invest or you're going to have to really overexert yourself, whatever the case may be, that's a risk. Who wants to do that, right? But on the flip side of that, when you think about a challenge, most challenges, think about a challenge that you may have right now. You know what the outcome of completing the challenge is. You know that, if you do X, you're going to get Y. You know, if you want this output, you have to do this input. It's just a matter of, are you willing to do the work? Are you willing to make it happen? And what I submit to you is when you're thinking about the big decisions that you have to make, right? We think about decisions, whether it be decisions with a relationship, where you're thinking about decisions with business or personal or finances or whatever, family, whatever applies to you. Just when you think about these decisions that you have to make and you reach that point of, okay, is this a risk or is this a challenge? I want you to think about just, are you willing to do the work? Because if you aren't willing to do the work, then you probably shouldn't make the decision and you're probably just going to look at it as a risk and you're just not going to do anything. But when you think about decisions where you know the outcome that you want and you're able to identify that outcome, that's why it's important to really get clear on what you want and why you want it. But when you're able to identify those things, it becomes so much easier to take on your life. It becomes so much easier to change your life when you are faced with a lot of challenges rather than a lot of risks. Because risks will leave you stuck. Challenges will make you grow. Ooh, that was good. That was good. Risks will leave you stuck. Challenges will make you grow. And the only way you're going to be able to improve your life is if you grow. And so what I'm encouraging you to do, if you're somebody that I just see risk all around me, so I'm just going to stay still, I'm encouraging you to get more information and I'm encouraging you to master your skills so that way all you see around you is challenges, because the caveat to challenges is that they're opportunities. And the thing about an opportunity, you just need one opportunity that will change your life. You need one opportunity, one chance that will completely transform the way you think, the way you operate, and it will change everything that you have. But it's a result of you, again, having that right perspective. It's a matter of you having the right perception, how you interact with things, but then also just asking yourself, am I willing to put in the work or not? Because if you're willing to put in the work, it's not a risk. Like when I think about just the levels that I want to take my businesses and, the levels in which I want to help people and things of that nature, if I didn't have the right information or the right skills, it would look risky. Well, what if people aren't willing to do the work? Or what if, I'm not able to, that's risk. That's risky. It could not work. But I also know what I want. I know why I want it. And I also know that I'm willing to do the work and I have the right information and I know the skills that I'm going to need to gain as well as the skills that I've gained thus far and the information I have thus far, but I'm willing to just do the work. So it's just going to be a challenge. It's just going to be a challenge. And even in that, I think challenges aren't bad. It's okay to get challenged because again, a challenge, you don't lose when you encounter a challenge. You don't lose. Because if you think about any challenge that you've experienced in your life thus far, right? Think about any challenge that where you were like, man, I don't know how I'm going to make it out on the other side of this. Like might not go my way. If this happens, like you have options. So at that point, are you going to do what you have to do, right? If you want to lose weight, well, are you just going to do what you got to do and work out your plan, right? Whatever that is to work out, whether that's eating better or going to the gym, whatever your plan is, like it's just a matter of, are you going to do it or not? But if you don't have information on the workouts or the food regimens or anything like that, you might just look at it as a complete risk. oh, this is all risky. Like if I hire a trainer, then I might just be wasting my money and da, da, da. But if you get information about why you should get a trainer and the benefits and the skills that you'll gain and things of that nature and how working out overall will change your life, now it's just, okay, it's just a challenge, but I got to do it. Because if I want to get to where I want to get to with my life, if I want to completely shift my life and impact the people that I want to impact and just live in my purpose and live the dream lifestyle, I need to be able to, 1, have the right perspective, 2, have the right perception, and then 3, I need to just assess, am I willing to do the work because I'm clear on what I want, why I want it. So that way I'm not seeing risk all around me. I'm just seeing, okay, these are challenges, but these are also opportunities. I'm seeing opportunity all around me because I have the right perspective, I have the right perception, and I have the right just systems in place that allow me to step up to the plate. Because again, when you gain this knowledge and you master certain skills, your capacity to make decisions, especially big decisions, grows, right? Using money as an example, it may be hard for you right now to make $1,000 decisions. Well, if you are somebody that wants to create generational wealth, you're going to need to be making $100,000 decisions, $1 million decisions. These are the types of decisions you're going to have to make. But if you don't have the right information or have the right skills, now it's just going to all look risky. Oh, I'm going to be risking this and that might not work. And again, when your brain processes all that, it's just going to say, wait, let's retreat. Let's just back up. Let's just keep it how it is. Like we know here, I know where I am. We don't need to go over there, even though over there may seem better, sounds nice, but that seems really risky. That's a big thing. Let's just stay right where we are. But when you are able to gain that knowledge, master those skills, shift that perspective, change your perception. Now, when it comes to those, again, just going with the money example, when it comes to those, $1,000 decisions, $100,000 decisions, $1 million decisions, you're basically just rolling with the punches. You're rolling with the punches. That's just what it is. Because again, you're just going to see opportunity. And that's where you're going to really start seeing life change. And again, I'm using the money example, but apply that to your life, however that applies. This works with relationships. This works with your finances. This works with business. This works with family. This works with personal stuff. Like you just do it. Just because, again, when you start seeing challenges, you're going to start seeing opportunities because they're all opportunities for growth. And in order for you to improve your life, you're going to need to grow. So I hope that this episode was helpful to you. I hope in some way you start thinking about what information can I gain? What skill can I master? Am I willing to do the work because I know what I want and why I want it? So that way, when you get to that decision, that crossroads of is this a risk or is this a challenge? I'm just going to see opportunity with the challenge because this can work because I'm willing to do what it takes so I can see that outcome because I know what I want. Okay, because I don't want anyone to remain stuck anymore. Because I think it's really time for people to step up into who they are and live their dream. And so they're going to encounter this split road of risk challenge. And so I want you to understand that there's opportunity all around you as soon as you decide to shift your perspective and change your perception of things. Okay. So hope this episode was helpful to you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Let me know if you didn't earlier. How did you grow this week? And I'll see you guys next week.